Good morning. Welcome to those who are joining us. Thanks so much for taking time this morning to come and learn more about Eagle Heights Spanish Immersion. We'll give it just a little bit of time for folks to kind of trickle in here before I introduce our awesome leadership team of Eagle Heights Spanish Immersion. My name's Grace Becker. I'm here from the Communications Department in Eden Prairie Schools this morning, and I'm so excited to welcome you to learn more about this fantastic school. So without any further ado, I'll just let you know what we're going to do here this morning in this virtual kindergarten kickoff. We had some questions submitted in advance, and we'll get through as many of those as we possibly can at the end of the presentation. If you have more, and we hope that you will as we go along here, please feel free to send them in either the chat or the Q&A. If you mouse over your screen, you should see both of those options. Send them in either spot. I'll be watching it, and at the end, we'll ask as many questions as we can. So without any further ado, I am proud to introduce our fantastic leadership team of Eagle Heights Spanish Immersion, Dr. Mitch Hegland and Senor Hernan Moncada.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for taking the time this morning to hear about Eden Prairie Schools and Eagle Heights Spanish Immersion. And being patient with us with online. All right, so here's what our agenda will be for today for this presentation. For those of you who want to know what are we going to talk about, I'm going to give you an overview of Eden Prairie Schools, our mission, our values, what we believe in. And within that, we're going to talk about how Eagle Heights fits into that, into our vision and our values and the way we do things here at Eden Prairie Schools. And then after that, we're going to take a closer look at what does kindergarten look like at Eagle Heights, as we are an immersion program. So you get to hear a little bit more information about that. And then you get to learn about future events. We have a couple events that are going to be happening in January, and then we have another one in May. That was great to see you all come and join us. So I'll talk about that as we go through. So throughout Eden Prairie Schools, we like to see how families feel about our schools, our systems, make sure that we're providing a great service for our community and most importantly to our children. And if we need to make any adjustments, we make those adjustments. The way we do that is we have a third party vendor that comes in, and we have other vendors that come through, and then they do individual studies and surveys to really give us that authentic feedback for us to know, are we meeting our mission and vision for everybody in our system, families and staff, and as well as our scholars. So I'm really proud to say that we have 98 quality rating. It's what consistently has come up. We have really amazing teachers here at our district that truly do care for our children and do care for the success of everybody. So that's a number I'm really proud about. And then to dig down a little bit more into other numbers and specifics, as you can see, we have 100% rating for our schools. We have 96. So we have very strong numbers going forward that tell us that we're doing well, and we still have some areas of growth, but we're doing really well, and our community supports us, and thus our children are able to be successful. There's a number on here that's particularly important to me, as not only am I a parent of children here in our system, but I am also proud about it just to see the trust that you have in us, and that's at 91%, because it's really important when you send your children to us, you're trusting us with their education and well-being. Just like when I send my children to school, I'm trusting that school to care for my child, to love my child, to make sure that they're not only learning academics, but they're being cared for, and I trust them to do the right thing for them and make the right decisions for them. And that's really cool to see that 91% of our community feels that way. And those are very strong numbers. We've gotten awards throughout the years that we've been here. We're very proud to say that in the 2023 Niche Awards, or ratings, not an award, a rating much, we've got an A+ rating that takes a variety of factors into school systems, and then they put those together, and from those they give you sort of a report card grade on how are you doing and all of these. And I can say that all of the different variables that they take into account to give us this A+ grading. In all of them, we scored really, really high, as you see our numbers here beforehand. So I'm really proud of that, and thank you if you volunteered in one of our surveys. If you have children in our system already and you volunteer in answering some of those questions when you get a phone call from a survey or something, it does help us out. So thank you for that. And then we've also gotten awards for being a best school district. And then we've gotten Eagle Heights itself. There's an award through the Star Tribune that gives organizations best of in the entire state, best of like restaurants, schools, variety of things, doctors and stuff. Eagle Heights, we have 2 years in a row been elected as the best immersion program in the state. So that's pretty cool. If you again have siblings in our building or have voted for that, thank you so much for putting our school down. So thank you for that. You know, one of the things that makes our district a really good place is all the opportunities that children have from pre-K all the way to senior year. As I looked at the numbers, we're one of the districts that has the most offerings across the board for all of our scholars. So if there's something that would inspire them or something they have an interest that they want to explore, we make sure that we try to either have it or we explore the possibility of putting that into place. So we have a vast variety of things from academics to athletics to the arts, which is really important, to music options in the state, like it says on there. And we do that and we take a lot of pride in that because one of our core values here is that we personalize learning for each. So we make sure that, you know, we're not working like we're talking as a staff here. We're not working with robots and we're not working with pegs. We're working with young human beings who have different interests, different talents, different ways of learning. And we try really hard to meet those needs for every child so they can have a successful career in education and open up their doors to a bright future. Some of the things that we have learned because we've done that is having, you know, we exceed state standards in all of our assessments. We're student-centered learning, like I just got done talking about, and then we individualize instruction for all our students' needs as needed. And that brings me to talk about Eagle Heights. One of the things about our building that I appreciate is that we also have, you know, there's children out there or families out there who want to give that gift of a Spanish immersion to their child. So, you know, that's part of how we personalize learning is if this works for you, if our immersion program works for you, you have an option to do that, as well as if there's other languages. At the high school, they have multiple languages, and in our other schools, they're also exposed to Spanish as well. So there's those possibilities for that to happen. We have one of the things too that helps us achieve that personalized learning is we're one of the amongst low class sizes in the West Metro area. So I know that, like, you know, for example, at kindergarten, to be specific, we have 22 per classroom. And in those classrooms with 22 children, we have one teacher in other support. So we have a amazing intern program. So we have exchange students that come that are learning about how does the education system work here in the US to then take that back to their home country. So there's that. We have a paraprofessional that's in there who also supports the classroom. And then we have other supports that come into the classroom. So in all reality, like if you go into a classroom, you're typically gonna see the teacher and then a couple other adults in there supporting children to really personalize that learning and give them those supports. There is times when, to be honest, that the teacher will be there by themselves, and that's because we wanna make sure that the teachers are able to create that authentic relationship with them. But for the most part, supports are given to make sure that we individualize that learning for all. And then, you know, you might have the question of why immersion? Like, what is this big thing about immersion? I hear from my neighbors, or I hear from others, or I've heard about that. Why? And here's three things as I've been talking to staff members around why immersion, and asking them that question. So language is acquired more effectively in a meaningful and social setting. So our immersion program, when children first come into our front doors, they're immersed into Spanish in a very authentic way. It is not just taught in the classrooms in isolation to literacy or math or the core subjects. It's really an authentic way from how they connect with adults, how they can connect with their peers and others in the building. And that's how you really get to learn a language and really succeed, because the idea is if they go to any other Spanish-speaking country, that they can authentically make those connections and connect with others. So that's one thing that we are very proud about. And then learning Spanish is concurrent to learning other subjects that are taught in Spanish. So when you're here at Eagle Heights, children will learn English, they will learn Spanish, and their minds, when they're younger, and even any of us can learn a second language, a third language, a fourth language. They're moldable, so they're learning Spanish, and they're also making those connections with English to the real world. So they're able to do that with ease and do that. And then our communication, our curriculum, if you're wondering, is the same as all the other schools. The only difference is that it is in Spanish, but we do follow the same curriculum maps for math, for literacy, for science, for social studies, our gifted program. So we do run the same system that all the other schools have. The only difference is that it is in Spanish, and maybe a little bit of a difference too. I'll bring that up. Is that because they're learning a second language, maybe the timing is a little different, but not by much, just because we do take time to scaffold not only the academics and the language as well. But I can tell you that when we're looking at our state tests and all the other tests that everybody else takes, we take the exact same test. So the big one here in Minnesota is the NCEAs. We take that test at third grade, just like the other schools, same way in English, same setup. And our children are scoring really, really well. We're one of the highest scoring immersion programs in the state. And as we are the largest, we are also scoring very, very high at third grade. So that's something we're very proud about. And then at Eagle Heights, one of the things that talking about options and personalized learning, as we've learned, is that, you can learn this online as well or in person. It just depends what works for your family. So as we talked about earlier about personalized learning, giving options to families and children of best way for them to learn, we're opening up, and we have an online program, a K-3 program next year, and then we also have our in-person program that's been here. Eagle Heights, just so you know a little bit, Eagle Heights, we're 15 years old, and we started with one kindergarten classroom, and then we started building from kindergarten to first grade to second grade to third grade. So it was a gradual growth. We're doing the same thing online. We have a program that's online. We've seen they use the same resource online and in person. Teachers collaborate together online and in person. And we're seeing the same academic results and also linguistic results. That was one thing that we were curious about, is online, are they really going to be immersed in that Spanish immersion program that they can really acquire the Spanish? And to be honest, the group that has gone through and is going through right now, currently, their Spanish is right at par. And our teachers are amazing and able to do that. So that's an option if you're wondering about is there an online program for a day immersion program. And then one thing that's really important to us is that your children are in good hands for success. Here is a picture of our current staff, and everybody shows up every day ready to care and take care of your children to make sure that they are successful. We call ourselves a familia, and in our familia, we're not in a silo. We all work together to make sure that all the children here are successful in their education and their experience in school. So, and then I want to give you a little bit closer look at kindergarten. If you're wondering, well, we've heard about Eden Prairie schools, we've heard about the great things that are happening there, but more specifically about kindergarten and Eagle Heights, want to tell how that works. So as I said earlier, the fidelity to the language is really important. So as I said, when children first come in, we speak in Spanish to the children. They're not expected to speak Spanish to us right off the bat. just because we know they are learning. And we want to make sure that they love the language of Spanish and it's not a punitive thing. Same thing for scholars who might be native Spanish speakers. We expect them they can speak English because we don't want that to be a punitive part of it. So, but we do speak Spanish to them. Our teachers and our staff are very well versed in using a lot of visuals, a lot of songs, a lot of hand gestures to show like, here's how this works. And so we do that to make sure that they acquire that Spanish skill and that linguistic skills. And I tell you right now, I was just in a classroom earlier, and it's so cool to see them already starting to speak Spanish, and also write in Spanish and do things in Spanish. And that happens gradually. That sometimes I don't even notice they're learning it, but they're there. So it's pretty cool. And then one of the other things that is important for us for kindergarten success is at homeschool communication. So we will communicate with you in English. So we will send, at the beginning of the year, you're gonna get a lot of emails probably, and throughout the year too, just to keep you in contact of here's what's happening, here's what we're seeing, here's what we're trying out in the classroom, here's some milestones that we're hitting as a class. And you also get that individually. Of how your child particularly is doing. You'll get that in person when you come here to meet for conferences. We'll do that in English, and through email. We do that quite a bit just to hear from you. But also we want it to be a good experience for you and your family, as this is a journey we're all taking together. So we depend on you letting us know, hey, my son or my daughter, here's how they're feeling. Like, how can you help us? What tips and tricks can you give us? And our teachers and our staff is really good at partnering up of like, okay, let's try this, let's try that, or here's what we've seen in the past, it has worked out. So that back and forth communication is really important, not only in kindergarten, but across the board. And then parent involvement. We're so happy that this year is this year that we could open up the building again to families to come in. We're a very community driven school. So we have a lot of events that we try to have for families to come in. So we have, for example, books and breakfast, which is happening right now. It just happened with our kindergarten classrooms, where families get to come in, they get to read a book with their child, they get to have a light snack or a breakfast snack with their child, and really see what they are doing and what their school experience is like in the morning during books and breakfast, and connect with other family members from other children, because sometimes you might hear, oh, I play with this child all day, but you don't know who they are. But here's the time just to continue to build that community. We have other opportunities where parents can come and have lunch with their children. Parents can come and volunteer in our library. Parents can come and do a variety of things here at our building. So that's something that we try to have. Our PTO is amazing. They have a website that I'll talk about in a little bit, but there's also all sorts of opportunities for you to be involved in your child's education in this partnership that we are in together. As I said, we follow the same sort of structure as all the other Eden Prairie schools. We use the same curriculum. The only difference is that in Spanish. So here's some of the components, or here's the components that will be that you will get to see, that your child will get to see at our school. So for example, in the morning, when they're building that community, there's morning meeting, and that's when children get to come in and they talk about what their interests are, what their talents are, and just have those authentic conversations. As we just you just got done hearing a little bit ago, they get to talk about, they got a new puppy, or they're going on vacation, or they got a new book, or they're excited about going to grandmas and grandpas. And that's how they authentically not only learn the language at that time, because then the teacher's there to facilitate vocabulary, but also just build a strong community with their classroom and peers, and learn how to do school. What does society look like in the school? And then they'll have a time when they'll have literacy. Our literacy is in Spanish in kindergarten, and just bigger picture, literacy is in Spanish from kindergarten all the way to second grade. And in third grade, they have literacy in English and in Spanish. So at the beginning, it's all in Spanish, and that's where they get to learn their syllables, and they get to learn their sounds, and they get to learn their words, and how to read those fun books that they have at kindergarten and across the board. And then we have math. They'll have a math block where they get to, again, learn math. It is in Spanish the entire time. And they get to learn that. And then they have a science and health. And this is one of the funnest parts, where they get to really explore and play with Legos and different experiments and different things that they get to do. And we're really excited to go in there. And they're always happy to tell me of, oh, I just built this, and I know that this works this way because of that, like simple machines and stuff. So it's kind of cool to hear them that. And then they have a time to learn about social studies, and that's again, they get to learn about just their neighborhood around them. They get to learn about our school, they get to learn about their peers, they get to learn those pieces. And then we have a time that's called discovery. During that time, children are given the opportunity to really try out different things. They get to try out to like, I've seen children put on a little play and they get to dress up and do a little play, or I've seen children in the classrooms, they like to color, so they get to explore that. And then sometimes what I think is kind of cool about discovery time is that there's other children who might invite other children to try an activity and say, hey, why don't you come and color with me, or why don't we try to play with these blocks? And then that child might have never thought about, oh, you can build that with blocks or some other things, and then they get to find an interest they didn't know that they had. So that's discovery time. And then they'll have recess and lunch. Recess and lunch is 20 minutes long. So recess is 20 minutes and lunch is 20 minutes. We do work really hard, especially at the beginning of the year, to help children get to those 20 minutes and figure out like, okay, here's the food. This is what happens. We do have a lot of supports in the cafeteria and the playground to make sure, especially in the cafeteria, that they can get through the line to their number, sit down, open up things as the time is taken away. But we do take care of doing that. And if a child is not finished eating, we do put in support so then they can finish their meals. Eating is really important, as we all know. So we do make sure that they're well fed and have that time to do that. And then they have specials, and we have 4 specials. We have music, we have art, we have physical education, and then we have world language. In a world language class, it is in Spanish as well. And you might be wondering, well, you're already in a Spanish-speaking school. Why are you having a specialist in Spanish to learn Spanish? And we take that time to really instruct our scholars around the culture. Because when you come here to Eagle Heights, we want to make sure that a well-rounded education is language, culture, and academics, and social skills. So that's the part where we meet our cultures, and they get to learn about the Latino culture. They get to learn about cultures, about European cultures. They get to do a couple events, and they get to do a couple of different ways of learning about other cultures and about themselves too, about what is your culture about this and that. So it's pretty cool and pretty neat. Our art, music, and Phi-Ed specialists, those are in English. And I gotta tell you, that first month and a half, all year it's they're pretty fun, but the first month and a half, our children really enjoy them because it is a time when it's in English, and they go from, like they get off the bus, understand everything. They come in the doors, and it's like, whoa, I don't understand anything. They're immersed in a different world. And then they go to specialists, and then they're in specialists in English. So it's like, oh my gosh, I understand again. I know what I need to be doing. So that's pretty cool. And that's also gives them a linguistic break at that time too. So, but our specialists are amazing at what they do. And it's so cool to see children shine in the different arts, whether that's Phi-Ed, art, or music, or cultures. So that's what the day looks like for our scholars. And then there's one thing that we hold dear when we think about the 3 things that we want every child to walk away with from our school. We have 3 things that we want them to walk away with. 1, your child at the end of the year is on target to meet the grade level expectations, both in English and in Spanish, especially 3rd grade and up. We want to make sure that English Spanish component is in place. As we do the MCAs, we've seen good results. So we want to make sure that that's happening across the board. And then again, as I've been talking about, we want to make sure that your child has meaningful relationships with not just their teacher, but with everybody around them, children and adults alike. So that's our custodian staff, our front office people, our lunchroom people, our social worker, our psychologist. We want them to know that they're part of this large community and familia, and they have somebody they can reach out to and make those authentic connections. And people care about them here at our school. And then number 3, but not least, we want to make sure that they like school. They love coming to school, and they look forward to it, to being at school and learning new things and making those authentic connections. Mr. Hecklin's back, and I'm going to toss it over to Mr. Hecklin if he wants to add anything about these 3, and also to introduce himself a little bit. You're on mute, Mitch. Mitch, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. Thank you. Yeah, hi, everybody. My name is Mitch Hegland. The kids here at school know me as Senior Hegland. I am the associate principal. And no, I think you covered it there, Senior Moncada, on kind of those three key goals. We just really are very interested always in connecting with kids and just welcoming them here each day. It's a great part of our day.
Awesome. Okay, and then we have at our school, all the schools, we have a fantastic Eagle Zone program. They meet before and after school program. It starts at 6:30 and then they end at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. That is a service that you can, if you want to take part in, you can pay to have that be part of your child's daily routine. You can come in the morning and then the transition happens from them to us and then from us to them, and then you pick up in the afternoon if you want that. And I know they have a lot of different options for whatever your family's needs are for care, for before and after school care. And they do a really good, really fun activities. And I am going to put a shout out to them because there's staff that is there. As I talk about authentic relationships, children are having fun. Your children are here in good hands. They're part of our system of our school. And it's really cool to see them when they're here during the day. When your children are at school, you see them in the hallways. We see them getting things ready for the afternoon group that's coming in, and children come in and talk to them, and they say hi to them, and they take an interest in finding out what children are learning about. And we also get to partner with them on supporting all the children in our school. So that's pretty cool. I appreciate that, and I like that my daughter was a part of that program, just because I saw the amount of care that they take, not only while children are in their program, but also when children are not in their program, they take an interest to finding out that she was doing well there as well. And then we have a preschool program that's pretty awesome. We have all our elementaries have a preschool program that you can take part in. Those are in your boundary school. So if your boundary school is Cedar Ridge, or if your boundary school is Oak Point, if your boundary school is Eden Lake, you are eligible to go to their preschool program. They're all really, really good programs. Eagle Heights does not have a program because we pull from all of Eden Prairie. So we do not have a preschool program at this time. However, if you do have a sibling or something, you can partake in the preschool program here at Oak Point if you already have a sibling going to Eagle Heights, to keep families together, because that's what we're after, just want to keep families together in that. So, we have more information on our website if you want to take a look and take a closer look at how that works. If you're wondering after all of that of like, whoa, how do I enroll to Eagle Heights? I appreciate it. The enrollment process is, here's the pieces that we'll need from you to be able to be part of the lottery that happens on January 31st at 4 o'clock. So the enrollment form, we're gonna need, obviously your enrollment form, we're gonna need your immunization form, we're gonna need proof of child care, proof of address, and early childhood screening. So we're gonna need all these documents. And they're on our website too. If you're taking notes, or if you're wondering like, oh, what are the things I want to make sure I remember them, they're also on our website. And in a little bit, I'm going to give you that website that you can go to for that information if you need it. But what I will tell you is, when you're enrolling, the two most important parts that I would make sure I have before the lottery are your proof of address in your enrollment form. So your proof of address, enrollment form, those are really important for the lottery. All the other things, it's nice to get, and our friends at the registration office can help you get that if you need supports in doing that. So for that early childhood screening, if you're wondering, where do I go about getting that? So it's free. The screening is free and it's required by the state of Minnesota before entering kindergarten. So you're gonna have to get one for any Eden Prairie school that you choose to go to, or really any school in Minnesota that you choose to go to. So so that's a piece there. And if you want to make an appointment to do that, you can do that at our website at edenpr.org/EC screening. You can go to that website and then they'll give you directions on how to sign up and make an appointment to bring your child in and have that completed. Or you can call our friends at the Early Childhood Screening Place at 952-975-6940. So again, you can, if you like to do it more online, you can do that. Or if you like to call our friends with questions or needing a little bit of support, or just want to set up your appointment through the phone, you can call that number as well. We have some, as I said at the very beginning, we have some kindergarten events coming up. We have one coming up on January 19th. It'll be a kindergarten parent panel. You'll get to hear from some of our families who've been in the program, who've seen how it works from a parent perspective. You get to hear from them. You get to hear a little bit more about the lottery process, of how that works. And if you have any questions at that time too, those can be answered at that time. But we can always answer any questions from here to then and beyond about immersion or our school or the system or process. The lottery deadline, as I said before, is January 31st at 4 o'clock. So that's a really important key number or a date and time. You should remember, if you're enrolling, it's January 31st at 4 p.m. You gotta have your stuff, your information in to be part of the lottery, as space is limited here at Eagle Heights on our campus. And then May 16th, we have a kindergarten welcome, which really excited. That is when we welcome our 132 scholars that are gonna be coming in. And then you get to be on the playground, you get to get a bus ride, you get to meet our teachers that are gonna be here. So it's a really fun event and fun time for you to see. And then in August, we have Kinder Camp. Kinder Camp is the time when children get to come for half a day. And they get to explore the school, see the school before our rest of our school is here, and get a little bit familiarized with Spanish. So that first time when they come in and get off the bus or get dropped off is not such a shock of, whoa, it's all in Spanish. They have a little bit of a pre-experience before coming in. And we make sure, as I said, even if you do not come to the kinder camp, we have a lot of adults that care for children and want to make sure they have a successful start of the year as well. So if you do not come to that, we do make sure that they're successful, they can get their classrooms and have a successful day. So those are our events coming up. This is all found on our website. In case you didn't get these dates written down or something like that, it's all found on our website if you want to refer to them later in the times and all of that. As I got talking about our PTO and social media, we have a Twitter account if you want to find out little things that are happening here and there. And that's, you can follow us on Twitter at EP Eagles EHSI. And you get to see a little bit more about what little snippets of Eagle Heights and what's going on during the day. And then we have a YouTube account where you get to see a little bit of our funny, wacky videos and fun videos about our school. And that YouTube video is Eagle Heights Spanish Immersion. That's our channel. Go on there, give us a like. And then, yeah, you'll get to just see a little bit more of our culture of our school. And then, as I said earlier, our PTO SCF. They're two amazing organizations that support our school. It's all ran by parents volunteering to, again, build that community that's familiar with us. So our PTO, you can go to their Facebook, and our SCF, they have a Facebook page where they put up different events and different things that are happening for you to not only come and be at and enjoy, but also see what things are new from our community. And also, if you're a parent and you're wondering about, like, you know, I want to hear from another parent. I want to find out, like, what are some tips and tricks and things that how to navigate school as a parent of an immersion child. Those are two places that I would go to, is our PTO website or SCF. There's a lot of resources and people that would be more than happy to answer any question or support you in your journey with your child in immersion as they've navigated it themselves as well. So I would say keep an eye on both of that. And then If you have additional questions and wonderings, like how does this work, and just things that might be, or even wonderings, you can definitely contact us here at our school. One of our friends in the front office, or myself or Mr. Hagelin would be more than happy to answer any questions, or just talk through some stuff if that's what you need. You can email us if that's your your way of communicating that you like it, at EHSI at edenpr.org. Or if you prefer more of a phone conversation, you can definitely give us a call here at 952-975-7700. And our friends in the front office would love to talk to you and support you in whichever way you need supports in. And if you have questions about enrollment, just what are those documents that I need and where do I go to get them, or just wondering about what does the process look like, or I need somebody to help me go through the process, sit with me and go through the process. Our friends at the Welcome Center are amazing, and they'd be more than happy to do so. So you can contact them by email again, if that is your preferred way of communication, at enroll@edenpr.org. Or you can also give them a call and get a live person on the phone to connect with at 952-975-7008. So feel free to give our friends a call at the registration office. Feel free to call also to enroll, or email to enroll, and then you will get an email back, or you will get a phone call back if you called in for us to help you and support you. Again, I want to thank you for being with us this morning and taking that time to really learn about Eagle Heights. Want to give you a quick other piece is that if you want to just get there with a QR code, we have two QR codes here. We have one on the left-hand side for more information. You can scan that QR code and it'll get you right to the website for more information about immersion, registration, those dates that I talked about, just a variety of things. And then on the right-hand side, if you're thinking, I want to enroll, how do I get right to the enrollment page so I can fill that out? You can definitely use the QR code and get there, and then do that. I'm gonna leave this up for a little bit, and I know Grace came back on. I'm gonna ask Grace if there was any questions that might have come up that I can answer, but I'm gonna leave this up in case you want to use those QR codes.
Great, thanks, Senor Hegland, Senor Moncada, and Senor Hegland. We have both of you, and I'm speaking about you all at once. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We did have some questions come in the Q&A. If you have more, please feel free to send them as you take some time to look at these QR codes, or if some come to mind, let us know. And we have some that were submitted in advance as well. So I think you talked about this a little bit, Senor Moncada, but just to kind of hit it home here, how can I help if I don't speak Spanish? How can I help my student with homework or anything they might bring home from school?
Yeah, so one of the things that we do is so homework comes home. We don't want homework to be a stressor. It shouldn't be a stressor for you or your child. They have a long life ahead of them when they'll be stressed for other stuff. So one of the things that we say is you can always circle the problem or whatever the question is, and then send it back to the school, and the teacher will be more than happy to support your scholar. All of the homework and activities that we send out are things that they've already seen in the classroom. So there's no new information that will go home for your child to do. There's always information that we've done in the classroom. And I think the other part of supporting is our staff. Our amazing staff is really good at emailing, communicating with you via email or phone. So you can always call our staff, email our staff and say, hey, I'm not understanding this, or hey, we need a little bit of support here and there. And then we're more than happy to do that. And we'll do that in English with you. And then the other tip that I'll give you, like a pro tip, is I was talking about connecting with families, connecting with other Eagle Heights families who are in your class. We build a really strong community, and then they're also willing to help out.
I know this is another question you get a lot, which has to do with the lottery. What is the likelihood rather of placement for students in the lottery?
Yeah, that is a really good question. And I'll tell you, I don't have an answer for you, because it all depends on how many people are in the lottery. So we might have 132 and there's no wait list or nothing, or we might have 300 people, and then we have a lot on the wait list. So there's not really a number that I can say, oh, it's guaranteed or not guaranteed that you're gonna get in. But I will tell you that we try to get, the 132 in. We try to support families as best as we can. We do have that online option as well. To if you did not get in for any reason, then you can take advantage of that. And then when your number does come up on the wait list, you can seamlessly move over to our in-person campus, because we do make sure that both programs align very well together, so there's not a misstep in instruction or in linguistic skills that are needed. So that's the answer that I could give you to that.
And I know there have been students who have done that even this year, who have gone from Eagle Heights Online coming to in person, and they are just right on track with their peers as far as being able to understand Spanish and really hit the ground running in that way. So it's a huge resource for families too, and the same fantastic Eagle Heights teachers who are teaching
Perfect.
online, and they're just phenomenal. Here's a question. How do I know if immersion is maybe just not right for my student?
Here's what I'll tell you. You're going to be the one that knows most about your child, for the fact that you've been with them since birth, since they were little. So you're going to know that. But what I will tell you is that one of the things that we talked about earlier in one of the earlier slides, I talked about that homeschool connection. So we depend on the connection from you letting us know, hey, my child here's the struggles, or here's the successes, or here's what we need support. And the teacher's going to do the same thing. We're going to let you know, as we're seeing things and things develop, we're going to let you know where things are at. And it's an open conversation with you, because we want children to be successful. That's our main goal. We're never going to tell you, no, they can't come to our immersion program. They're not made for immersion or anything like that. But we will have conversations with you. Where do we put those supports? I think immersion is as a bias for me, maybe, but there is a lot of research that says that immersion is for anybody, is for everybody. What makes the difference between the success of a child in an immersion program and not is the supports that are put into place for that child to be successful in the homeschool connection that is had. So if you have those two pieces there, all children can be successful. And that's just not for immersion. That is for any program in our educational system.
All right, and I see one final question here, which is, we weren't able to come tonight to the live kindergarten kickoff in person. Are we able to come tour the school at a different time?
For sure. Yes, we'd love to give you a tour. All you'd have to do is contact our front office, or on our website. I know we have a button you can click on, and then you can go on there and fill out a form that tells us, what grade, and it also tells us like what times work for you. And then our front office staff will work for you to set up a time that you can come in. And then typically it's me giving the tours, or Mr. Hagelin can give the tours, but we would love to do that. So sorry you couldn't make it tonight, but I hope to see you at a nearby tour.
And I just shared that link in the chat too. It's edenpr.org/tour. And you can fill out a form, select any of our schools that you're interested in. Maybe you want to tour both Eagle Heights and your boundary school. Check them both, and then you'll hear from both of them to schedule a tour. I don't see any further questions, Senor Moncada, so I'll pass it back over to you to close us out. Awesome.
Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time this morning to learn about Eden Prairie Schools, learn about Eagle Heights, and also your interest in maybe exploring a second language for your child, or a third or a fourth. So just thank you so much for spending some time with us. On behalf of Eden Prairie Schools, our staff, myself, Mr. Hagelin, we want to just wish you the best of luck finding a great school, and want to thank you again for being with us. So hope to see you this afternoon if you're coming, and hope to see you in January too. We have that event in January that you can come to if you like. Awesome. Adios.